Shalom, shalom, Israel. This is Brother Noah. I'm also here with Brother Isaiah and Joshua.
Shalom.
All right. Anyway, so the class today, first of all, I want to give all praise to the Most High and the Son Yahushua for letting me be here right now and bring out this great class. I hope it's very edifying to y'all. It's called Being an Austere Man in the Truth. Being an austere man or woman in the truth.
Come on.
That's the title. So, yeah. The first precept we're going to go to is Titus 2:1. Because to be an austere man in this truth is going into being more serious, more dedicated, more basically, your tone basically changes from where you were, from when you were back in the world. So people should be able to see that you changed once you get into this truth. We're gonna go more into that later on in the class though, but whenever you get there, read Titus.
The book of Titus, chapter 2 and verse 1.
Mm-hmm.
Speak thou the things which become sound doctrine.
Speak thou the things which become sound doctrine. Sound doctrine is basically the law that is good, which is the Bible, which is the Lord's words, stuff like that. Keep going.
Verse 2. That the aged men be sober.
That the aged men be sober, as in diligent, which you can find in, let's go get that. 1 Peter 5:8. Be sober.
Is the book of 1 Peter, chapter 5 and verse 8.
Mm-hmm.
Be sober.
Be sober, go on.
Be vigilant.
Be vigilant. Be watching. Always be checking. Go on.
Because your adversary, the devil.
The who?
The devil.
The devil, as in your enemies, stuff like that. Or the devil, the spiritual demon, Satan. Go on.
As a roaring lion, walketh about, seeking whom he may devour.
Because the devil's always trying to look for who he can devour, who he can take over, who he can destroy. Because that's his job. He's supposed to wander back and forth around the earth, trying to get people out of this truth. All right, so let's go back to Titus 2:2.
This is the book of Titus, chapter 2 and verse 2.
Mm-hmm.
That the aged men be sober,
mm-hmm.
grave, temperate. Salakia, grave.
Mm-hmm. As in another word for serious. Go on.
Temperate. Sound in faith.
Sound in faith, as in like they're rooted in this truth. Hebrews 11:1, but we don't have to get that right now.
In charity.
In charity, as in they love for their people. Let's go get that actually. First Peter Salakia 4:8.
Come on.
1 Peter 4:8.
It's the book of 1 Peter, chapter 4, and verse 8.
Mm-hmm.
And above all things, have fervent charity among yourselves.
It says above all things, have what?
Fervent charity among yourselves.
Have fervent charity among yourselves, as in give to the godly man, care and love for your nation, for your people. Keep going.
For charity shall cover the multitude of sins.
Charity is going to cover the multitude of sins. So there could be sins you've done back then and you repent for and all that. And then if you do charity on top of that, that's going to cover a whole lot more too.
That's right.
This is basically not a get out of jail free card, but like it sounds like one too. It just sounds like one.
God.
But anyways, go ahead. Read verse 9 too.
Verse 9. Use hospitality one to another without grudging.
Use hospitality as in like show you care for them, protect them, stuff like that, without holding grudges. Because there could be a person that you absolutely despise in the nation of Israel, but you shouldn't, love thy brother. But nonetheless, you're supposed to still show hospitality to that man without holding any grudges. You got a precept?
Well, I don't have a precept. I just want to expound on that because Sister Asia actually gave me this precept. And what that's also going into is like, you can give someone something, but you be like, here. Like, you're not supposed to give grudgingly. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead.
Mm-hmm. That's all I got on that. Let's go back. Titus 2:2. You got to finish that last bit out.
The book of Titus, chapter 2 and verse 2 from the top. That the aged men be sober, grave, temperate, sound in faith, in charity, in patience.
In patience, as in you're patiently waiting for the Mashiach Gomalak Yahushai to come back. You're patiently following these laws, statutes, commandments. You're patiently loving your brothers, your sisters, children, elders, all that. Well, all right. Let's go to 1 Corinthians 13 and 11.
Come on.
Because this is gonna, as being part of a mature man or being an austere man in this truth, you have to put away childish things that you used to do, like we talked before, like that you used to do back in the world.
Come on. The book of 1 Corinthians, chapter 13, and verse 11.
Mm-hmm.
When I was a child, I spake as a child.
When I was a child, I spake as a child, which means, I did childish things, stuff like that. Go on.
I understood as a child.
I understood as a babe. I didn't know all about the truth. I was stuck in the world, thinking worldly things, carnally things. Go on.
I thought as a child.
I thought as a child, which is the same thing I said earlier and what the scripture said earlier about understood as a child. Now go on.
But when I became a man.
Now it said, but when I became a man, let's see what happened. Go on.
I put away childish things.
He put away childish things, such as those childish thoughts that oh, I'm supposed to love all people, or I love doing this, da 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 da. I love treating women this, da 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 da. In a carnally wicked way. We had to put away all that stuff, all those drugs, all those ways of fornicating, even religion-wise, even Christianity. You'll be considered a child in this case if you were still in Christianity, because you're not putting away that childish thing, that carnally worldly thing. All right, let's go to Sirach, chapter 19, verse 29. Yeah.
This is the book of Sirach, chapter 19, and verse 29.
Now, it's important to also know that whenever you're an austere man, people are going to be able to tell. They're going to be able to see the look on your face and your attire and the way you walk, stuff like that. And this verse is going to go perfectly into that. Go on.
Come on, the book of Sirach, chapter 19, and verse 29. A man may be known by his look.
A man may be known by his look. The way you see him, you'll see, like, if he has a stern, serious look on him, he says, man, that brother means business. Or, man, that sister means business. Mm-hmm. But if he has, like, a childish, more giddish look, he's not that serious, you can tell, like, oh, man, this brother gonna be trouble. Mm-hmm. Or he doesn't pay attention. He doesn't know anything. Mm-hmm. But, go on.
God. One that hath understanding by his countenance.
He has understanding by his countenance. Your countenance is your facial expression. Your facial expression such as that. Go on.
When thou meetest him.
When you meet him, you'll be able to say, basically, like I said earlier, man, this brother's serious. Go on.
Verse 30. A man's attire.
A man's attire, the way he dresses. If you can tell by the way a man's dressed, what his personality is. To be honest, a man can dress in serious clothing, just like a suit and tie. This brother means business, like I've been saying. Mm-hmm. Or he can just wear a t-shirt. Slap some pants on, some sweats. That this brother ain't worth nothing. Mm-hmm. Or he doesn't know anything, or he's too lazy, mm-hmm. or he doesn't listen, stuff like that. All right, go on.
And excessive laughter.
How much you laugh, so there's a way to show too much joy, especially you gotta find a time when to do certain things. Like there's a time and place for everything. There's a season mm-hmm. for everything. In Ecclesiastes chapter 3, we can go get that actually.
Come on.
I believe it's Ecclesiastes chapter 3. Salakia up on that.
Yeah, come on.
All right, read verse 1.
This is the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 3, and verse 1. To everything, there is a season.
There is a season for everything, as in there's a time and place for everything. Go on.
And a time to every purpose under the heaven.
And a time to purpose under the heaven, which is on earth. Go on.
A time to be born.
A time to be born.
A time to die.
Mm-hmm.
A time to plant.
Mm-hmm.
And a time to pluck up that which is planted.
See, there's a time and place for everything, and if you keep going, it goes into jump down to verse 4.
Verse 4. A time to weep.
Mm-hmm. There's a time to cry. There's a time to mourn. Go on.
A time to laugh.
A time to laugh. So you got to make sure you don't want to be that brother or sister that's always laughing and making jokes at the worst possible time. Like it can be serious. It can be the words coming out. Everyone's serious, but you're the only one joking around about it. Keep going.
A time, and a time to laugh. A time to mourn.
A time to mourn or to be sad. Go on.
And a time to dance.
And a time to dance. Like I said earlier, there's a time and place for everything. You have to have that spirit of discernment to be able to tell when to do it and when not to do it. But anyways, let's go back to verse 30 of Sirach 19.
Come on. This is the book of Sirach, chapter 19 and verse 30 from the top. A man's attire and excessive laughter and gait.
And gait is another word for the way he walks. A person can walk goofy, or he can walk serious or austere or valiant. That way you can tell like how he is. But keep going.
Shoe what he is.
And it's said it shows what he is. All this stuff that they listed, it said a man's attire, excessive laughter, his gait, his looks, all that, his countenance, it will show who he is or what he is as a man. All right, let's go to Luke 19 and 17. We're going to go to this parable that Christ spoke. This main parable is about teaching the word, basically. And he used it as like a nobleman giving shekels or pounds to these servants, and they were supposed to spread out and basically trade stuff for it, stuff like that. So we're gonna see what those men's reward was for doing so. Go on.
This is the book of Luke, chapter 19 and verse 17.
Mm-hmm.
And he said unto him, Well, thou good servant.
Well, thou good servant. So Christ telling them, good job, basically. Go on.
Because thou hast been faithful in a very little.
They have been faithful in a very little. Like I said in Titus 1 and Titus 2 and 2. Austere Salakia. Aged man supposed to be faithful in this. Correct? Mm-hmm. All right. Keep going.
Have thou authority over 10 cities.
Have thou authority over 10 cities. That's the reward you get. Basically, you reap what you sow, you know? And they sowed good things, so they get good things out of it. They were able to rule 10 cities because of it. Now let's see what the next man got. Read on.
Verse 18. And the second came, saying, Lord, thy pound hath gained 5 pounds.
So they have gained 5 pounds, so he put in that much work into spreading the word. Let's keep going.
Salakia. Verse 19. Verse 19. And he said likewise to him, Be thou also over 5 cities.
So Christ or Mashiach said, okay, be thy ruler over 5 cities. Since you did this much work, you get this much reward. Right. It's still a good reward, right. You know. So one ruled 10 cities, the other ruled 5 cities. Now the other one's gonna come up, and he's gonna say what he did, and let's see what Christ says, what he says about it.
Verse 20. And another came, saying, Lord, behold, here is thy pound, which I have kept laid up in a napkin.
He kept it laid up in a napkin. In other words, he said, I'm not gonna share the word. I'm not gonna teach it or anything like that because I'm too afraid of it. I'm too ashamed. Stuff like that. You're not supposed to keep this or he's trying to hoard it. You can't keep or hoard this word. Right. You have to teach it.
That's right.
There was a verse I was looking for, but I can't remember it. Salakia. But anyways, yeah. So that verse is going into you can't keep the word stuffed up in a napkin. You can't keep it locked up in your closet. You can't just take notes and not share it or remember it or teach it in any way, shape, or form. You have to be able to bring that out. Because most of these notes I'm trying to tell y'all are the ones that I took a notes a long time ago. So let's go to verse 21. Verse 21.
The book of Luke, chapter 19 and verse 21.
So this is going into basically the man was also scared of Yahushua because of how he looked. Go on.
For I feared thee, because thou art an austere man.
The man feared Christ because he was an austere man. He was a serious man. Austere means stern or serious. All right, go on.
Thou takest up that thou layest not down, and reapest that thou didst not sow.
He reapest that thou didst not sow. So like it. All right, Let's get another example of Christ being an austere man. Matthew 25 and 24.
That's the one I'm giving.
Yeah, Matthew 25 and 24.
The book of Matthew, chapter 25, and verse 24.
Mm-hmm.
Then he which had received the 1 talent came and said, Lord, I knew thee, that thou art... Salaki, am I reading the right one?
Yeah, you're reading the right one.
Salaki, let me start off Matthew chapter 25 and verse 24. Salaki. Then he said, Salaki, then he which had received the 1 talent came and said...
So, Salakia. So, from my understanding, I understand that this is basically the same parable from Luke, because Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, right? Yeah, are different. They're all the same story of Christ, but from different perspectives, from different viewpoints, right? All right, so if we go, so this is basically the same parable as in Luke. Keep going.
And came, Salakia, came and said, Lord, I knew thee, that thou art an hard man.
Thou art an hard man. A hard man is means that he wasted no time, and he's also a stern and diligent man. Basically what they said as for him to be an austere or stern man in Luke. So keep going.
Reaping where thou hast not sown,
Mm-hmm.
and gathering where thou hast not strawed.
Mm-hmm. All right. Now that we got example of that, now we have to understand also that since Christ was this back then, we also understand that Christ left us an example of how we're supposed to be. That's why he came down. He fulfilled all the laws. It's like he did all these laws and showed that we can keep them too. And he also sacrificed himself for us. Now let's go to 1 Peter 2 and 21.
This is the book of 1 Peter, chapter 2, and verse 21.
Mm-hmm.
For even whereunto where, Salakia, for even hereunto where ye called, because Christ, Hamashiach Yahushai, also served for us.
Salakia, read that again.
Salakia. Let me start from the top. Verse 21. For even here unto Salakia, y'all. I'm out of it today. For even here unto where ye call.
So wherever he called us, go on.
Because Christ, Yahushai, also suffered for us.
He suffered for us. He fought. He went against all these ridicules, all this hate was Salakia. All this hate was pointed towards him, stuff like that. You keep going.
Leaving us an example.
As in leaving us how to keep these laws, statutes, and commandments, and how we should act while doing so. Go on.
That ye should follow his steps.
We should follow his steps, no other man's but his. Go on.
Verse 22. Who did no sin.
He did no sin whatsoever. He was a just and perfect man. Yeah. Salakia, y'all. Alright. Who did no sin. Keep going.
Neither was guile found in his mouth.
Or any wickedness, stuff like that. Alright. Now let's go into more examples of our forefathers being austere, valiant, righteous man. Let's go to 1 Samuel 16 and 18. Because this is going to talk about Salaki. This is going to talk about King David, how he was. Because we all know, if you read the Bible, you know that David was a very, very valiant and mighty man, very austere too. I think he played no games.
All
right, read when you get there.
This is the book of 1 Samuel, chapter 16 and verse 18.
Mm-hmm.
Then answered one of the servants and said, Behold, I have seen a son of Jesse.
A son of Jesse. Well, if you keep reading.
The Bethlehemite.
All right, the son of Jesse, the Bethlehemite. The son of Jesse is David. That's one of his sons. And, well, you can find that in the next chapter over in verse 12. But we're not going to get that right now. Keep going.
That is cunning and plain.
Mm-hmm.
And a mighty valiant man.
Mighty valiant man. Valiant is going into courage in the face of danger, or courageous, basically. So it said that David is a cunning and valiant man. Cunning and courageous, smart and courageous. Go on.
And a man of war.
And a man of war, just like, because Yahweh is also a man of war as well, which you can find in Exodus. All right, keep going.
And prudent in matters.
And prudent, or very diligent and righteous in all matters. Go on.
And a comely person.
And a comely person, as in a beautiful,
handsome young man.
Yeah, handsome. And a handsome young man as well. Go on.
And the Lord is with him.
And the Lord is with him, because David did a lot of righteous stuff too. And yeah, he did mess up, but he repented for that immediately. Which you can find in Psalms. But anyways, now that we got that one, let's go to 1 Chronicles 7 and 11. Let's see what the Bible says about one of Benjamin's descendants.
This is the book of 1 Chronicles, chapter 7, and verse 11. All these, the sons of
Jadiel, which is a descendant of Benjamin. Go on.
By the heads of their fathers. Mighty men of valor.
Mighty men of valor, which is also going into courageous, brave, stuff like that. Go on.
Were 17,200 soldiers fit to go out for war and battle.
Because as soldiers in this truth, we also got to be fit to go out in war and battle. It's mainly spiritual, but eventually it's going to come to physical too. Because there's going to be times where times get tough. You have to be that mighty man in the household. You have to be that mighty man that Yahweh and Yahweh need on their team. All right, let's get one more example. Judges. Last example. Judges chapter 11, verse 1. Salaki. I didn't say the whole thing.
Salaki, you say you want Judges what?
11 and 1.
This is the book of the Judges. The book of Judges, chapter 11 and verse 1. Now, Jephthah,
I think, yeah, Salaki.
The Gileadite, was a mighty man of valor.
He was yet another mighty man of valor, and he also became a judge for 6 years, I believe, over Israel during this time. But go on.
And he was the son of an harlot, and Gilead begat Jephthah. Salaki.
It's alright. So we got that David is a very valiant man. The Benjamin's descendants were also valiant men, mighty men of valor, and so was Jephthah, one of the judges in the book of Judges. So let's go to Wisdom of Solomon 8 and 1. Because whenever you're a mighty man, you also have to have wisdom as well. And with wisdom also comes her goods, as in her rewards, stuff like that. Her blessings, Salakia. The blessings that the Lord gives you for that. Man, I can't find it for some reason. Oh, Salakia. Alright, when you get that, read it out.
It's the book of Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 8 and verse 1. Wisdom reaches from one end to another mightily.
Reaches from one end to another mightily, so it'll spread. It'll reach whoever it is. If they want wisdom, as long as they follow the law, statutes, commandments, and the children of Israel,
that's right.
She will reach them. Go on.
And sweetly doeth she order all things.
And sweetly doeth she order all things. Now it's important that we realize that it says she. That's the main reason why I came to verse 1, because we're gonna jump down to verse 10. That way you won't be confused when it says for her sake or stuff like that. He, her, she is talking about wisdom from this point on. Jump down to verse 10.
Verse 10. For her sake I shall have estimation among the multitude, and honor with the elders. Though I be young.
Though you be young, you're still going to have honor and respect among the others as long with this wisdom you get from the word with Yah's will. So, even young men such as, I'm trying to remember, there's one, Salakia. Jeremiah. He was a child still, but he was being a mighty man, and he was wise as well. Christ put that, Yahweh put that spirit on him. All right, keep. Unless you got a precept.
I was gonna get Jeremiah the first chapter real quick just to prove that.
All right, do you have a precept? All right.
Con. It's the book of Jeremiah, chapter select 1. In verse, I'm gonna start at verse 4.
Mm-hmm.
Then the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, Before I formed thee in the belly, I knew thee, and before thou camest forth out of the womb, I sanctified thee, and I ordained thee a prophet unto the nations. So that was the Most High telling Jeremiah that he had already ordained him a prophet from before he was born. I'm going to read on verse 6. Then said I, Lord, Yahweh, behold, I cannot speak, for I am a child. But the Lord said unto me, Say not, I am a child, for thou shalt go to all that I shall send thee, and whatsoever I command thee, thou shalt speak.
Con. You got anything up more on that?
Con, no, that's it.
All right. That was very good. That further iterated what I said. Thank you for that, the water. Now let's go back to Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 8, verse 11.
Con, the book of Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 8 and verse 11.
I said verse, verse 11, go on.
Con, I shall be found of a quick conceit in judgment, and shall be admired in the sight of great men.
You'll have a quick conceit and judgment, as in, like, you'll know what to do. You have a quick understanding or discernment when it's time to judge certain things, like certain situations. And, like I said, and shall be admired in the sight of great men. Even great men or elders are gonna look at you and say, "Wow, this man is a very, very mighty man," or "This is a very wise man."
Right.
You know, or you can be both, a very austere and wise man. All right, keep going.
Verse 12. When I hold my tongue, they shall bide my leisure.
So when you hold your tongue, that means you're gonna listen to them, and they're gonna understand that you're listening and say, "Oh yeah, this man is smart. This man is smart. He's not just gonna yap off stuff like that." Go on.
When I speak, they shall give good ear unto me.
When I speak, they should give good ear unto me, as in they're gonna want to actually hear what I have to say, because of the wisdom I've showed them and the austerity that slack you. Because the wisdom I've shown them and the austerity I have on my face, stuff like that. Go on.
If I talk much, they shall lay their hands upon their mouth.
And if you talk even more, they're going to want to listen even more, because that means, man, this brother's really on a roll. He really wants to say this. He really understands what he's talking about.
That's right.
We should be quiet and listen to him. All right, go on.
Verse 13. Moreover, by the means of her, I shall obtain immortality, and leave behind me an everlasting memorial to them that come after me.
It's like it. Read the first part again.
Con, verse 13. Moreover, by the means of her, I shall obtain immortality.
Now, immortality, that's going into, living, living forever spiritually with with I can't think straight.
Living forever spiritually. I'm gonna help you out.
Yeah.
Living that going, because remember, we talking about wisdom. The Lord speaks in similitudes according to Hosea chapter 12 and verse 10. So he's still saying she and stuff like that, but we're still talking about chiefly wisdom. So wisdom, I'm gonna read it. Verse 13. Moreover, by the means of her, by the means of wisdom, I shall obtain immortality, because wisdom, according to Deuteronomy chapter 4 and verse 5 to 6, is keeping the commandments.
And that's going to go into what I'm going to bring out. Give me Sirach chapter 19, verse 19. Because whenever you have wisdom, it gives you immortality. Because when you have wisdom, you're keeping the commandments. And the commandments also give you immortality.
That's right.
So let's go to Sirach 19:19.
This is the book of Sirach, chapter 19 and verse 19. The knowledge of the commandments of the Lord is the doctrine of life.
So the knowledge or wisdom of the commandments of the Lord is the doctrine of life. It's what you need in your life. It's an essential. Go on.
And they that do things that please him shall receive the fruit of the tree of immortality.
You'll receive the fruit of the tree of that immortality, which is what was just said in the Wisdom of Solomon chapter 8 and verse 13. But Yeah, let me see real quick. Let me see
That
this.
was a good precept.
Let me go to. Well, we can read down to verse 14.
Con.
Yeah.
Con. The Book of Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 8, and verse 14. I shall set the people in order.
I shall set the people. I shall set the people in order. That's going into. That can be going into this time and in your later life too. Your future life, as in when you're not reincarnated. Regenerated. Yeah, when you're regenerated, and that can mean like in the parable, the men were set over multiple cities. That can be any other Israelites that are keeping the law, statutes, commandments that are wise and austere. Because whenever that time comes, when we get our New Jerusalem back built, we're gonna be ruling over all these other nations. The 1/3 are.
That's right.
There's gonna be some men over 10 cities, some men over 5 cities, some men even over 1 city. But you're gonna get something if you're putting the work in for it.
Come on.
You know, wholeheartedly, not just half in it, full-heartedly. Go on.
Verse 14. I shall set the people in order, and the nations shall be subject unto me.
Like I said earlier, the nations are going to be subject unto you because you have that wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. They're going to see, wow, this man or this nation of people, Israel, is a great and powerful man or nation.
That's right.
Because of that wisdom that the Most High gave us. And we're very thankful for that too.
Fine.
But with that, I want to say shalom. Let's get this law first, though. Unless you have any precepts.
Hey,
You do? All right. Let's go to the law. Even Deuteronomy chapter 10, verse 12. Well, it's not more of a law, but more. This is the requirements that the Most High requires of us, the Israelites, to do. So, yeah, let's get that.
It's the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 10, and verse 12. And now, Israel.
Now Israel, strictly Israel. No, it didn't say Esau, it didn't say Moab.
That's
it
right.
It didn't say Hamites, any of them. It said Israel. Go on.
What doeth the Lord thy God require of thee?
So what do you require of us, O Lord? Go on.
But to fear the Lord thy God.
Fear the Lord, which is Psalms 111 and 10. Go on.
To walk in all his ways.
Deuteronomy 8 and 6. Go on.
And to love him.
And to what?
And to love him.
To love him, keep the law, statutes, and commandments. 1 John 5 and 3.
That's
Go
right.
on.
And to serve the Lord thy God with all thy heart and with all thy soul.
So basically, he just said everything that he said was a summarization of keep the law, statutes, and commandments. That's literally all the requirements we have. And his commandments are non-grievous, right?
That's right.
And the precept for that is Ecclesiastes 12 and 13, which says the whole duty of man. And it basically repeats it in a more summarized version of it. But with that, I'm going to say shalom. The water for everybody tuning in. All praise to the Most High and the Son Yahweh for letting me share this word with y'all. Alright, y'all want to say anything?
I'm going to say all praise to the Most High. Make sure y'all keep tapping in. Tap into more. Brother Noah will have more classes. The junior battle acts will have more classes. I will have more classes. And y'all just keep tapping in. All praise to the Most High.
With that, we'll say shalom.
Shalom.